And the Oscar goes to... It's a clean sweep. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, Barry M. Osborne, Peter...
Remember this happening this year, 2023. It's 20 years since The Return of the King premiered. 19 years since Peter Jackson and his crew swooped the floor on that fateful night.
And Tranwall's producer.
The Lord of the Rings films is one of the most successful series of all time. It depicts the importance of the need to stand up against evil and unify. It's more than the battle of good and evil. It prevails the story on friendship, trust, and hope. The books by J.R.R. Tolkien detail very well how the relationship between the nine grows and evolves. Peter Jackson provided this relationship to deepen these characters more for its cinematic journey between Sam and Frodo, Pippi and Merry, Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli. He took it a step further, with a poetic linguistic approach told and inspired by the source material. Jackson, Fran Walsh, and Philippa Boyens understood the material enough to make it all believable for the audience, even though they tried a similar method with the adaptation of The Hobbit, a small children's book that chronicles Frodo's uncle Bilbo and his adventure with 13 dwarfs. As Guillermo del Toro departed the Hobbit project, and Jackson returned once more to Middle-earth to direct a film split in three. Fans probably had high hopes on how to deliver it. The book itself and the source material weren't enough to span over a trilogy, which made the director himself and the film crew improvise as the production went along. Jackson himself later admitted that he didn't know what he was doing when making those films. Quote, "Because Guillermo del Toro had to leave and I jumped in and took over, we didn't win the clock back a year and a half and give me a year and a half prep to design the movie, which was different to what he was doing," unquote, reveals Jackson. Quote, "It was impossible, and as a result of it being impossible, I just started shooting the movie with most of it not prepped at all. The rushed production and no insight into the true meaning of the project. The Hobbit trilogy came sort of a mainstream problem, and despite its flaws, it has generated billions at the box office. The bleak tone, new character, and overuse of CGI crippled the beloved fairy tale. Hunger for explosive and extravagant narration, the first two films were the only ones that truly landed on top."
Take it. Take all of it. The money, quick. Give it to me.
We will pay you when we get our provisions, but not before.
If you value your freedom, you'll do as I say. There are guards ahead.
Despite a runtime exceeding 8 hours amid 3 hours for each of the films, the Hobbit trilogy doesn't bring the joy, adventures, and illuminating spirit the Lord of the Rings delivered. The same momentum and crossed bear it shares with the Skywalker saga, told in 9 movies, where the original trilogy is the only one gaining collective respect. Released in December 2001 to 2003, the trilogy of The Lord of the Rings is the most awarded trilogy with 17 Oscars categories, from directing, adapted screenplay and makeup, costume to the soundtrack. With the final film, The Return of the King, released in 2003, it ended on a grand slam, winning all of its nominations. and the prospect of all the awards and the success. 2 decades ago, the feature film The Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring in 2001 was released to the screen, showing its pure potential in celebrating the narration from J.R.R. Tolkien, but at the same time adapting a faithful story of the characters and the world Tolkien embraced. Director Peter Jackson did this together with a major ensemble cast of prolific actors and thousands of visual effects shots. Preparing for several years, the film crew prepared the movie with written scripts beforehand to shoot the 3 films simultaneously. It was a high-budget film and an unprecedented method as usual. This method does not sell well with production companies, but fortunately the producers of New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers Pictures saw the rich potential of the trilogy. The risky gambling with $300 million in the budget from New Line Cinema pushes also the boundaries on how successful this risky project came to be. Based on Tolkien's high fantasy epic novels written during his youth, cemented a literary milestone and a new dedication to a timeless classic trilogy.
So I'm just waiting for Fran to get her Oscar. There we go. Oh, this is just unbelievable, and I'm so honoured, touched and relieved that the Academy and the members of the Academy that have supported us have seen past the trolls and the wizards and the hobbits and are recognising fantasy this year. Fantasy is an F word that hopefully the 5-second delay won't do anything with. I just want to say a very few quick words, especially to the people of New Zealand and the government of New Zealand and the city councils and everybody who's supported us the length and breadth of the country. Billy Crystal's welcome to come and make a film in New Zealand anytime he wants. A special thanks to Peter Nelson and Ken Cammons, who were with me right from the days of Bad Taste and Meet the Feebles, which were wisely overlooked by the Academy.